1 to 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the most. But it was a routine thing for, I don't know, like 8, 10 months. They were doing it, and I was trying to get them out.
I could imagine what they do to the women. They probably rape them.
Well, not in front of. Well, it's not the women. Well, women in prison, in detention. Yeah, but it's the, and this has only come out recently, and this is something the Palestinians have not talked about because of our society. But the girls that and now there's vans that pick up children to go to school for the most part, right, Palestine?
I could imagine. They're discussing society.
Well, before the bans, up until the late 2000s, kids walk to school, and little girls, 8, 9, 10 years old, were routinely sexually harassed by the soldiers.
Yeah.
And worse. I mean, this is something that wasn't talked about at all until the last year or so. So I'm glad Palestinians are more comfortable now to speak about that. That's been happening for generations. So if you can imagine, schoolgirls that went to school and were harassed or worse by Israeli soldiers, grew up, got married, had children, had daughters, and then those daughters, same thing happened to them. There's no words to.
My cousin himself is a detainee. He's a prisoner. He's been a prisoner for now it's almost 2 years.
It's like
society. I don't care what anybody says.
And they say, no, we only have 200 detainees. 146 detainees. That's all we have. How is it that every Palestinian I come across in my family, there's multiple detainees? Palestine here has a cousin that's detained. What are the chances of, if there were 146 out of 5.5 million people, what are the chances of the two of them being right here in this room, in Amir's room right now? The half family.
That's like we are so goddamn unique.
Yeah, exactly. We are so lucky, or Amir is so lucky, which I don't think he is because Amos is more handsome than he is. But either that, or maybe it's not true. Maybe there are tens of thousands of people that are being held in detention for months to years, and maybe that's the truth.
Yeah, including children.
Yeah, 12, 13-year-old user. Yeah, I'll tell you, this is how they Palestine. Who was that girl with the blonde hair and blue eyes? She was a teenager. She came from a family of activists, and she was a teenager. She's famous for being an activist. I think she went up against a tank when she was a little girl or something.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And she got arrested.
I don't if it's, does she have blonde hair?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Yeah. They wouldn't arrest her for the longest time. Why? Because she had blonde hair and blue eyes. That's what they said. In the early 2020s, that's what they were saying, that they weren't to arrest her because she has blonde hair and blue eyes. And then they finally arrested her, I think after October 7th.
Was it Tamimi? Her name Tamimi?
I don't remember. I just remember the blonde hair, blue eye part. Meaning why the Israelis were not arresting her. It's because she was too white, and that wouldn't look good for the Western audience. And I was like, what? That's the level that they're thinking of?
Of course it is.
That's why they're dysfunctional. You can't run a country like this. You can't.
I don't think it's.
And later on they're gonna claim they're the victim. I've been all over social media on the left leaning, right leaning, in the middle, and everyone is saying the same thing. Don't bring us in this war. A lot of Americans are saying, don't bring us into this war. Don't bring us into this war. We don't want it.
Yeah. This is unique because it affects oil. affects rich white people. So I don't think the U.S. or anyone else would come into this war besides Iran and Israel. And I believe Iran and America have an understanding, or Iran and the West have an understanding. If we don't get involved, we won't destroy all the oil facilities in the Middle East.
But isn't Iran already speaking of part? There's a trade route that's very crucial. I forgot the name of it. It was really
The Hormuz Strait.
yes, they're considering closing it. It would be it's a tactic.
Yeah, well, I think that's a rumor. I don't think they're closing it. I don't think they're considering closing it. I've seen that too.
No, what I'm saying is tactic. You get what I'm trying to say?
Oh, they can. Yes, 20% of the world's energy
No,
flows through
even
that strait.
if they don't do it, it's just rumors up there, right?
Of course they
Well,
can.
just the rumors. Just the rumors
But it's
have spiked
enough.
oil
No,
prices.
but it's enough to make people people who are invested again, the West, us, our governments, they're going to make measured decisions, even on a rumor.
Well, yeah. Well, the strait, 1 out of 5 gallons or barrels of oil flow through this strait. It's a narrow strait too. Very easy for Iran to, and it belongs to Iran, and it's very easy for Iran to, and they've already mined it. There are submarines. They have mini submarines. They've mined the whole thing.
Doesn't it connect different other regions of the world? I think it
Yes.
is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me put
but,
this
but
context.
for oil, mostly it's been
Oh,
used
and
now
also
for gas.
goods. That's another.
Yeah, but Iran is not going to do that unless US get involved. That's
Yes, exactly. If the U.S. gets involved, but that's what I'm saying. Because this affects rich white guys, rich old white guys. I mean, the futures and commodities speculators, those that corner the oil markets. The institutional buyers, pension funds, insurance companies, all over the world, especially the Western world. Because it affects those, rich white people, then this is what makes what's happening different, and this is why I don't think the U.S. would get involved, because it affects rich white people, or I should say, old rich white men.
and it's if it happens, then it's not just US or any other country's problem. It's a whole world problem, and especially a whole Air Force problem.
Listen, I don't want this to happen. If that happens, it is our problem. I mean, we will suffer direct consequences.
Yeah. No,
The world will suffer.
Yeah.
We will suffer.
And
Big time.
even China.
You can believe it?
Most of the Persian Gulf oil goes to China, and then the whole world needs to find a resolution for this war to stop us.
Yeah.
But this is the last thing that Iran is going to use, because we are far away from that point. We are now, if you don't help Israel, we can crush Israel easily. Like if in 2 weeks Israel raise a hand up, that's it.
Yeah. The thing that also keep in mind, if 10,000 missiles start moving towards Tel Aviv, then Israel may think about nuclear weapons. Oh, by the way, Iran did say that they were going to be hitting the Dimona site. They've already hit.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, they did. Yeah,
Nuclear weapons.
But the last part,
Guys, Pakistan has backed very,
Oh,
very
yeah.
obviously, and they are a nuclear powerhouse. They are
Yeah.
up there. For them to have not just said it, but them to have moved their navy and actually are aligning themselves. This is one of the most powerful moves that was done, and good for Pakistan. Thank God somebody did something that was valuable.
Yeah.
For them, this is where Israel gets fucked here. to the
Oh
best.
yeah, no, they're very good.
Ferocious. Their
Yeah.
Air Force is untouchable. This is pretty much why you get back the fuck up. Because a conversation about potential nukes came in. It's a deterrent. So I don't think that Israel is going to start to run to nukes knowing full well that Pakistan is ready to go.
Plus, there is another scenario too. Let me tell you something. We have, based on their confession, we have enough uranium to make 10 or 14 bombs. And in that doom state, if Israel wants to use nuclear against Iran, they have 10 days to leave the whole country. The whole 9 million, 10 million, they need to leave the country. And even we have made facilities under the ground that even the nuclear bomb cannot destroy them. And that's not a choice for them. That's not an option to choose.
I don't even think Iran would even bother making the nuclear bombs. I think they'll just buy them from North Korea if they haven't already. For a just-in-case scenario type of thing, because they can just as easily buy them from North Korea.
And that's the reason
North Korea will sell them the whole.
That's true. And that's the reason that Iran always said that I don't want to make one, because I know that I'm not going to use it. We want to make deterrence. That's why we made all this missiles. But we're not going to have that because we don't want to use it, and that's not an option for us to use. And no one wants to use it against another. They tell us that they want to make. We want to make it. Like in each way that you name it, we announce that we don't want to make this. And you can have the full supervision on our facilities, but they want to make a scenario that you want it. And when they control the narrative, the whole.
So even at 3% enrichment, Iran won't give up. And I was looking at why. If you look it up, the amount of scientific innovations that Iran has made in medicine, in X-ray technologies, nuclear medicine technologies, and other industries that aren't even related to nuclear, like civilian, commercial, consumer. The amount of innovations that they have made is, it's staggering. I was really shocked at 3% enrichment. They are doing so much R&D at the universities. And I can understand why Iran would not want to give even the 3% up, because it brings so much to their economy, so much to their universities, and so much. Do you know that they have 2 new methods of killing cancer? It came directly from their nuclear program.
That's all true, but let me tell you another story. So we gave it up one time. Okay, 10 years ago when they signed JCPOA, we kind of kept all facilities, but we blocked down everything. We blocked down enrichment. We just kept a experimental under supervision, everything that was for some universities or something. And then Trump got out of it. And we did all this because we wanted to be a normal country, and we wanted to get back to the world trade. We wanted to get connected to world central bank and everything. Like, we were under the most restrictive sanction between the whole countries, like in the world. And we signed a deal with U.S. during Obama to give it up. That's what they wanted. But then Trump came, and Netanyahu blackmailed him probably by Epstein files, and he got out of it. This is something that we've done one time. Yeah, enrichment is.
Don't you think the strategy now, when to wind down this conflict, that the Trump would have the excuse, and would have to actually be a lot more flexible with the demands and allow 3% enrichment. allow Iran to keep its, because they wanted Iran to get rid of its missile program, to keep its missile program, obviously because they were already attacked, so they have proof that they need protection, and if they want the war over, and because it is affecting global, like the markets. It is affecting the markets. The markets have gone up.
You're saying that Trump agreed with 3% enrichment?
No, he didn't agree. He did it first, and he took it back.
Then, yeah, that's exactly
Okay.
what happened.
But to end the war, though, now Iran has more leverage, and I think that this is my theory, that he would be forced to give her, and it's not really forcing because he doesn't really care either way. But he would be forced to say, okay, Iran could enrich to 3% and be able to tell the Israelis, it's your fault, you attacked them, so we have to give in on some of these demands and make it.
That was all.
And then he'll say place. Like he'll be like, yeah, you listen. They attacked, and I had to allow them to have some enrichment capabilities. Because Israel attacked. It's Israel's fault, not mine. And I got the best deal I could under the circumstances. I brought an end to the war, and I got this deal done.
I don't see any future for this unless this war goes for at least 6 months. Then they can jump in and they say, okay, I stop Armageddon scenario by letting them have just 3%. That's the scenario for after 6 months, not just 2 days. So if he wants to do this, first of all, he needs to supply Israel to feed its air defense for 6 months or something like this, and that's something that it's costly for sure for US to supply this.
But you think this will go on for 6 months?
No, I'm telling you that the scenario that you're saying that Trump drops the war with this excuse and let Iran have this, it's not going to happen unless this war goes for 6 months. They're not going to jump in after 2 days and say, okay, we're going to let you.
No, but a week or two would be long enough, I would think, to end the war. Because
I didn't get that, sorry.
I think a week or two would be enough for the U.S. to come in and broker a ceasefire agreement.
But I don't see this coming. I see another way that the U.S. brings its navies and stop them a couple of hundred kilometers away from Persian Gulf and start shooting exactly the same like what happened in Yemen. They start shooting air defense and fail them and make it ready for Israel to bring its F-35s and make a demolished country from Iran. That's the scenario that I see Trump is following.
Edward, I
Yes,
have a
go ahead.
different, I visualize a different scenario. So far, Iran has been very careful in not attacking any place, any base, or anything that's related directly to the US.
Yes.
Making sure that US does not get any opportunity to get involved in the war. Okay, no direct involvement. But at the same time, I believe that Israel will very soon carry out a false flag attack against one of America's bases or America's interests within the US or somewhere outside of US, and put the blame on Iran, thus making sure that US does get involved. This is the scenario I'm playing with. And Trump may not even be aware of it, but Trump's ministers, Trump's administration, like Marco Rubio, Huckabee in Israel, all these people will already be discussing with Netanyahu how to go behind Trump and carry out a false flag attack, and immediately America will be forced to get involved in it. That's the scenario I think.
Well, here's the flaw. It does sound feasible. The only flaw is all Iran has to do is say no, that wasn't us, because Iran. Why would Iran attack and then deny that they attacked. And why would they attack the United States and then deny it? So if they just say no, that was not us. It had nothing to do with this. In this specific scenario, I think that would be more than sufficient for the U.S. To say, it wasn't them. Especially if Iran says it to the world.
Mark, didn't you see what happened to Afghanistan or Iraq? Did another country did the 9/11 and they raided?
But they didn't have the leverage that Iran has.
Sorry?
They didn't have the leverage that Iran has. Remember, we talked about Hardwood.
No, there's different ways. We don't have any leverage.
It's not about leverage.
No, that is leverage.
No, it's not about the leverage. The
It's
difference
about
is at that
controlling
point.
the narrative. It's when
But at that point in time, the U.S. administration wanted to go to war, and the U.S. public wasn't really against it, right? Now, you have Trump does not want to start wars. There are people in his administration that do want war, right? But the U.S. public absolutely does not want to get involved.
But you can't say that.
It's always about leverage.
Want the war. Let me tell you something. They say something, but they act differently. They say we want to but they act differently.
I think there are people in the Trump administration that want war. There are people that don't want war.
And we can't actually do war right now with Iran. Our forces are spread out. When it comes to bringing in aircraft strike groups, I mean, the Houthis were able to drive them away. What do you think Iran would be able to do? I don't see that scenario playing out where America brings in a strike, because if America does that, then they are responsible for what happens with the oil prices in America, with American citizens feeling the effects. Not only American citizens, but citizens all over the world. I can't imagine America putting itself in that position. It would be like
all what you're saying makes it a difficult war for US. It doesn't make it unfeasible. Okay. It's gonna hit the U.S. economy. It's gonna make it ruin the credit again, and overcoming the social narrative or the medias and everything. But no, it's not. You can't say it's not possible. And just see this motivation that they are like $34 or $37 trillion under the debt, and a war can help them to just somehow. Waive this debt and somehow fix it and say, okay, we have to do something. They can somehow.
You think that World War II, like World War I and World War II, required a vast, massive manufacturing infrastructure here in the U.S. to support the weapons that were created.
What about now? I like how he's the one who said now.
I was like 13.
Well, you know what you were 13, okay.
You can never underrate a good ficus. I'll just give you that.
I don't fucking know.
The only plant I ever ate is I had a quarter of dope.
I
I had a quarter of marijuana on me and got pulled over by the cops and I ate the whole quarter.
Right, you must have
What
died
in
for 2
the
days.
fuck? It's just like Super Troopers.
Yeah, for real. How'd that go?
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't know what to tell you.
It's like, I need to make this disappear. Nope.
Yeah.
Already pulled over. You can't pull. There's nothing on me, officer. Wait, are you real? Let me touch real quick.
It's when you like wrap it in like plastic bags, you don't ingest it.
Hey, we're not doing smuggling, okay? That's not happening. Also, ingesting is not even the best way to do it. Just like put it right up your ass.
Yeah, I was gonna go with choking to death. I'll just rather choke to death. That's all.
All I'm saying, man. You're gonna feel something either way.
That's it.
You know, there's like a fun fact. If we were to like actually take the whole exposed thing put up your ass is actually a lot of receptors inside of your ass that allow you to take in the THC. So some people literally inject the THC in their ass.
They do the blood chugging thing, isn't it?
It's the same as, yeah. That's the same thing with alcohol. It is called blood
I
chugging.
never heard about that one before. Oh god fucking damn. People are fucked up.
It's rumor has it works with into.
I said that, Suki.
It also works with tampons.
What the fuck?
Very much not.
What in the fuck?
What does
Wow.
the things have
Wait,
going
how
on
do you
with
know that?
How do most things?
Is this one of the you can in fact just do things and you just figured shit out because of it?
Well, I mean, you can put sins anywhere. You can put them between your toes, behind your ears.
What's wrong with it,
I just
baby?
pick up information on my travels. I don't know what to tell you.
You can put them in your foreskin.
Have you done this?
He's walking in his cock. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, I feel like he has done this. He's the type of person who will just do things I don't even want to ask.
No one would just say that, right? I mean,
Cock and lock, the new dance craze sweeping the nation.
I may or may
I'm
not.
so locked in. Every part of my body is locked in that any of this is somewhat representable on the internet in some way. I think that's probably what Jeff Bezos did before he sent that massive dick pic on saying a leaked. Real thing that actually happened. His dick pic's out there on the internet somewhere. People find that an insecurity of some sort. Personally, if there was something about me like that leaked on the internet, I wouldn't care.
You just hired someone.
Now I know it's only a matter of time before somehow it finds me. Through no effort of my own.
At some point in my life, I will, at my prime, 3D scan myself. I'll probably have Synthetica do the cloud point thing for me. So he's gonna know everything about me in that regard, and he's gonna put that shit on the blockchain with me. So everybody's gonna have a fully naked Adrian on their fucking computer if they download the Bitcoin blockchain. Because fuck you. That's why.
I'm ready to get your choice.
He's ready to chef at any point. He wants this to happen.
Let's do it.
I will save enough money to do that if it costs $1 million and be like, hey, did you immortalize yourself? Yes, here's a link. It's like Zestia grandpa, What's the greatest thing you did in your time? Well, I once 3D scanned myself in a very exposed manner and put it on every single part of the unknown internet, also known as Bitcoin. Ever heard of it? Yeah, you run into it too, don't you? I'm in your computer in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. You're gonna have to delete all Bitcoin and get rid of me. Good luck. I'm gonna be there even with a fork. There's nothing you can do about it.
Immutable. Yeah, your balls will be immutable.
Not just my balls, everything.
Seriously.
I'm gonna probably put out the most ridiculous bullshit pose ever, and it's gonna be like, what the fuck? I'm gonna become the Overwatch Mercy character model for whatever that's gonna be at some point in the future. Just please don't use me for anything too fucked up. Don't give you permission to do that. But if you need open source assets for human representation on an alien planet, I'm open to it. So, hologram my shit. Human culture. Yeah. Fucking Terminus, bro. Naked Adrian on Terminus. Let's fucking go. 2059. I just wanted to turn it out. There's a dick on the moon right now. There's a dick on the moon, by the way. It's a little piece of metal with a little dick engraved on it. It's on the moon right now. Okay? I want at some point. Yes, that's true. Go look it up. Also, they say it's not a dick, but I'm like, you look at it and you're like, it really much so is. Yeah, it very much so is, yeah. So I'm thinking of putting a fully naked scan of myself on Mars at some point. I definitely want to do that. If space transportation is good enough to do that, I will make sure at least somebody takes it there and then puts it on Terminus, because why not? It's for science. And that science is my mental expansion and just general frolicking fuckery. Yeah. The esoteric memes I post, you think a lot of that shit I mean. I'm actually serious about this, by the way. I'm not kidding. I'm actually serious about this.
More like Terminus.
Exactly.
Do you want like a metal plaque landed there, or do you want to like engrave it from orbit?
The engraving from orbit bit is going to require alien technology, but I'm considering royalties so that can be acquired. And yes, I will laser my naked self into Mars at some point, if that's possible.
Excellent.
Yes.
JP, one of our listeners just sent me the coordinates.
Incredible.
Or the
I
laser
mean,
thing.
we should probably not talk about this in public, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm down.
Okay.
Everybody have some sort of gay meetup? What's happening?
We're gonna go search for something. In
I
the
don't want to
swamp.
fucking hear it. I don't want to fucking hear it. No. I already know exactly what you're talking about. I don't want to fucking hear it.
We're going gator hunting.
Yeah, sure. That's one very, very glowy gator you're going to be hunting.
Gator.
We're gonna go get some.
It's like, yeah, probably with all the radiation, like trying to gator is gay in that swamp. That's why, like, you know, security.
That's how we know we're close to gators are blowing.
Exactly. Always
You're gonna get some
security.
shiny boots.
Watch out. There used to be an app with a Windows CE device, like remember Windows Mobile, and it was Gator. You could click it, and then it would like open an app, and you could pretend to scan people. And be like,
Give for gayness. Actually, you know what you can actually, there's something like that exists. You guys, here's what you can do, right? I'm saying you should do this in public. I'm just saying there's potential for you to be able to do this if you wanted to. You can, in fact, just download the notification button for Grindr and then go behind people and play it. If he turns around, then you got one.
I don't even know what that sounds like, so I definitely wouldn't turn around. I mean, maybe I do.
I was gonna say, that sounds like you definitely know what it sounds like.
I'm gonna go look it up right now. Hang on a minute.
I really don't.
Boys, can you go look it up and play it?
Sure, yeah.
We're gonna like activate Gator on this base when like somebody's fucking mom in the room turns around. It's like, what the fuck's going on here? What are you into, actually?
So if you hear the sound and you recognize it, raise your hand.
You should put it as one of the soundboard options on Discord too.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then if I hear somebody like pick up his phone like that, you can make that sound that comes like you grabbing the phone and slipping it off. That's like, fuck, you got one. We're not gay phobic or anything. It's just funny, you know. We're not afraid of the gays. If you so happen to be gay, there's a future in which we work together. Don't worry. So long as you don't go super zesty with us for reasons that we don't like to consent to. We do in fact just want male things. We don't care. That's the one. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It even sounds gay.
Even sounds gay.
It sounds like you're.
Just at the sound of running your finger across a plastic cone.
Something like that. Dude, that's true. Associated the two.
I mean, on that same point, since we're talking about plastic, just understand one singular thing that is a fact about life. The ocean and lesbians have one thing in common. They're both getting fucked by plastic right now.
By plastic?
Real.
Yeah, because microplastics are inside your balls.
Yeah.
Alright, look, gentlemen, you have to understand. Something that is inversing your ability to create testosterone is located inside of your balls right now. You can do something about it. Just make sure not to do it in visibility with the general public, because this will be considered indecent exposure. Tanning your balls allows you to increase your testosterone by 200%, and it stays at that above baseline significantly for a very long period of time. So you can, in fact, just tan your balls. And as a result of that, it will then allow you to produce more testosterone. Just don't do it in a neighborhood where people are going to be able to see you do that, because that will be considered indecent exposure. Okay? Just like, and you could, in fact, just get a very big UV lamp of some kind. You could probably just tan the underside of your balls. See, you have to counteract the microplastics. You have to counteract the the endocrine disruptors that leach out from the microplastics inside of said balls. The way we do it is by significantly upping our testosterone. We do this by sunning our balls. With safety precautions, of course. And you also have to consider whether or not this is a right fit for you. And look, you have some people that come out of the woodwork and say, yeah, but the heat is going to kill your sperm cells. I'm like, there are some really stupid motherfuckers out there that say, hey, because technically Toxoplasma gondii, which is this parasite that is found in cats, makes you more risk-taking-esque in various many ways. Like, it has you become more of a risk-taker, and actually therefore also increases your testosterone. It also does a very interesting thing that is really fucking hilarious. It decapitates your sperm. So don't fucking cat max. That's not a fucking thing.
Aww.
That's not a fucking thing. That does not exist. Okay? It decapitates your fucking sperm. Horrifying. I know. Look, you're almost rude.
Cats are nature's
Yes, they really are. It's not even the cat's fault. It's the mouse's fault. It's the cat that eats the mouse. Fucking hell. So you're gonna get toxoplasma gondii. Probably gonna do things, but. Understand. Precautions. Okay? You're gonna have less problems from this overall if you do it this way. Believe me. Or don't believe me, I don't fucking know. Just make up your own mind. What the fuck is that, JP? That is amazing. I think you don't need to, just take out that little beam thing. That does not need to be there.
Let me see if I can find the original image. I actually made that the last time you talked about tanning your balls.
That's actually perfect, you know that? That is actually fucking perfect. Just remove the beam thing. But that's actually perfect. That is exactly. That is exactly. Yeah, sure. It's the rays, but you don't see them raised, do you? Yes, we discover new things about the human body every single day. If you so happen to be in a relationship, you have to explain that to your significant other. I hope you got a lot of science to back that up, because it's going to be an interesting sell to sit outside, in that specific type of position to be able to, tan your balls, or perhaps even get a UV lamp and just kind of sit there for a little bit,
I would be surprised, not in the littlest bit.
I mean, why wouldn't
You're Southern, what can I tell you?
Well, if it helps, why wouldn't you do it?
That's what I'm saying.
You make sure nuts warm, so it's like you're doing it.
So I really gonna make your nuts warm, man. Like, if that is something that's a problem, then exercising is a problem. But it's not. So what's your problem?
What? That's the general. Lay your nuts in the sun, you're gonna get warm from the sun. What do you mean?
Exactly, but the problem is, if you have a problem with getting warm, then exercise is gonna be a problem. You see?
Did you see that guy this week that got his ball shot off by ice?
Yeah.
No! Fuck!
One of his balls. Not both, just one.
Right, just one of them. He lost.
What a coincidence. What a coincidence. I happen to have a picture of someone's, internal testicle that I sent to my group chat long ago.
And now this is another thing that I know exists.
Yes.
And it's only a matter of time before somehow I put my own. I will
Can you give me permission to send you the picture?
No. I don't want to say it, Jumbotron.
Hang on, I did not publicly. Hang on. Let me take a look. Nope, it's not there. He didn't do that. For science.
This guy was kind of an Asian guy. He was complaining about getting his ball shot off by ice this week. It was pretty funny, actually.
Jesus Christ. No, the actually funny one was the guy who was being tackled.
Bro.
The guy got shoulder tackled, fucking XP, bro. That dude got eliminated. He threw some shit, he threw a water bottle or some shit at an ice guy. One of the LAPD dudes. and then bro just like walked away, and some random upstanding citizen decided to like just completely come in clutch and just shoulder tackle this motherfucker.
Did you see the AI remix where Trump did it? Yeah, it was Trump shoulder tackling him.
But the guy that shoulder tapping him was like in his mid-30s, so you know he had been waiting like 15 years to relive the
In his
he saw his opportunity.
In his mind, he was hearing like the Foo Fighters. You know that he was hearing the Foo Fighters song. Here comes my hero. Oh, he was hearing that shit in his head. I swear to God, wasn't it?
It was involuntary. He just had to do it.
Yeah. In this case, you aided law enforcement. Tremendous job. You did a tremendous good job. Jesus Christ, man. One hell of a thing. That was one hell of a thing. Massive. Absolutely massive. Yeah, let me see something. We're gonna post something on the time China code soon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you look at? I have like a picture that I want you to look at, and given the context, tell me whether or not it looks gay.
Okay.
And what you might do differently. Describe it in the chat.
You haven't sent me anything yet.
It's in there, bro. Tag.
A bit. Tiny bit.
Type in what alterations one might suggest for the specific context.
That's gay.
I'd say the text need to work, but the image isn't the issue. The text is the issue.
I need to post more memes. That's reply. Okay, let's have
What is going on?
Chippy removed the beam of sun.
Good.
The beam of sun.
Yes.
Ra has been pleased by this movement.
Or upset.
Was upset on your behalf.
You know, it would be cool if I had like the ability to lock certain people from responding to like a comment. It'd be fucking hilarious.
That would be nice. Granular locking. Yes.
It'd be absolutely amazing. It'd be totally cool. Absolutely fantastic. You know what? I'm gonna post something. I'm gonna post this thing. This looks pretty cool.
You could do granular locking using lists if you feel like being thrifty.
Hey, you still use your Apple Vision goggles?
I don't use those.
Did anyone in here have those?
I don't, but I was talking to Robert Scoble this week. He was in a space with us, and he was jabbing on him, talking about he liked those.
Oh, you kept talking about it for years. It's been so much. I'm always tired of hearing about those fucking Apple Vision Pros, man. I don't want to like. Let me summarize it. Let me summarize it for you. The Apple Vision Pro is really cool. It's got spatial stuff. Still needs a bit of work, and it's so heavy that you need to turn it to one of those You know, like there's those F1 type of racer people where what you have is the super thick neck, like Gunther, you know, like that advertisement for the beer that's super old. It's like the thick neck guys like Gunther, that's what they're gonna have to have. Because like you're gonna have to support that neck somehow because like there's gonna be a lot of stress on it because of this big diving goggle size super heavy like thing, piece of technology, whatever that is.
Alright,
And it's like
other than the neck,
yeah.
What else is the problem?
Practically that. It's just super heavy. And you kind of look weird running around with it. You know, like people just like making hand gestures in space looking like a flying frog. It's pretty bad.
The HoloLens Pro, or the Google Vision Pro is just the HoloLens 2 released 3 years later.
Yes.
That's all it was. At the same price. And it didn't come with development features.
Which was part of its downfall.
I got the Quest 3, and honestly, the pass-through is just awful.
Yeah. I don't really
At least
understand
it's in color
VR.
this time.
I don't understand VR. VR doesn't make sense to me. I think that
I mean, it's kind of neat because you can do those games where like your whole room is being invaded by a monster because it scans the room and it knows where the walls are. So then like panels will fall off. There's a monster coming in. You can look through the panels and up at it, and you can see like through your room. There's another like world out there.
I think
that's pretty neat.
I think the future of the problem is with VR gaming is that there isn't much demand for it to become super mainstream to the point where there's like a really good game. I think it could be changed with something like maybe Unreal Engine, right? Because at some point you're gonna have to somehow make it cheap enough for you to have a super, just fully immersive gaming rig. And what I mean with this is you have the treadmill, you have the gloves, you have the bodysuit, and you have the whole fucking, you have the visual thing, right? And at that point, you're gonna have to consider, in a game like that, how you, like, what's gonna be the next thing, right? Because you can have the visual strain, whatever else, right? But I'm pretty sure that would have to be the move for you. It's gonna take a
The
while.
next step is Sword Art Online, obviously. You trap people in a death game.
Yes. There are movies about this. Jesus Christ, I don't know what's that one. But what's gonna happen is at some point we're gonna have the Lawnmower Man. That's happening. Don't ask me what that is, and I'm not gonna explain it to you. That's fucking.
Have you watched that recently, man? I watched it like.
I watched a recap of it. I don't want to hurt my brain. I'm not doing that. There's some things that I'm legitimately never gonna watch.
So good.
No, it does not hold up. It's fucking insane. I don't know what's wrong with people who like created that. Like, what exactly were you on? Like, this is the problem with MK Ultra. Everybody's like, oh wow, these drugs allow me to like travel through time. So everybody takes LSD. It's like, what if lawnmowers but VR and it's people and it's having sex with a computer? Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with these drug addicts?
You seen that movie Red? So with the AI. What's her name?
Maybe not.
What's her name? That hot chick. Old
Wife? Rob Snyder.
dang it. Can't find it.
Well, someone in the audience got that joke.
Sorry, typing back and forth, strategizing in real time. Oh, damn. You got this thing that's holding on to the head.
The movie's Her, with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh yeah, the AI clone is
She's the
everywhere.
AI voice. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like she's like literally the ultimate AI voice. Like if they can ever replicate that, like females don't stand a chance. I'm sorry.
Wasn't that a thing? Where like she sued some company for her
She's
voice?
an open AI because they basically made it Scarlett Johansson, and literally her, when, you know, Sam Altman made that post about her literal definition fucking thing, I think that was kind of funny. It was so close, it was so bad, and so they just completely rugged it because of this. So yeah, no judging.
How much better? You can't get a voice better than that. I mean,
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just have to create a better her movie that is not her.
Is that even possible?
Yes, it is. Just not with current Hollywood. It's not.
AI in the next 5 minutes. Let's go.
Maybe. Needs to be better though. Okay? Needs to be a whole bunch better.
We can call it Herms.
I think we're gonna get towards this specific state at the end of the year. We're gonna have top movie, not just clip or trailer level, you know, film generation for AI, but we're gonna have actual next level continual deterministic movie generation for AI with sound and just effects by the end of the year. I see this as very plausible considering the current development. Google making amazing strides in this. I think China's going to try and steal some of that, which they inevitably will, and perhaps come up with an even better perfected version of that. But for now, I think there is no product that is even remotely on par with Google in almost any form whatsoever. They have completely knocked it out of the park with video generation, so much so that you don't even really need to care about Gemini. They have totally taken that whole thing over. They've created amazing scripts for this. Like we already understand, like, you know, how a good YouTube video functions and what it looks like. So now you have just created out of everything that anyone has ever uploaded the perfect amalgam of this content. That's fucking incredible. If you now curate for something that is cinematic in nature, which is going to be really difficult to do because of, you know, obviously IP reasons, well, if you somehow were to pull it off, you are winning. And then Hollywood will approach the cooked state even faster than it's currently approaching it. They will need to ungay themselves very quickly if they ever stand a chance. See that happening. So AI will eat their lunch. And that's the end of it.
What about AGI?
I feel like
much more complicated.
we can't even agree on what is actual intelligence half the time, and then we're gonna have to see how exactly we'll tackle the problem of defining something as AGI. I think the conceptuality of what AGI is, from what exists in the average mind, is something that won't be achievable within the next 10 years, personally.
You think it's going to be that long? Because I hear at least like people who are, you know, maybe doing
some AI experts that have actually built the foundation of what we use today, we're thinking about a 50 to 20 year timeline, and that was 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. So we're looking at probably at max 10 years. But that's if we find the correct recipe. And quantum computing is not going to come before AGI. I think if we get anything close to whatever the average mind conceptualizes AGI to be, that's going to allow us to create quantum computing. I very much so doubt that we'll get actual functional, properly scalable functional quantum compute before AGI. So what happened? People are going to look at that and be like, what is he talking about? I'm like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, we'll have AGI long before we'll have quantum computers.
Yeah.
We barely have quantum computers right now. Like that shit didn't even exist until last year.
Dude, I don't like quantum computers. They can freaking break all of encryption.
No, they can't. We'll just update it before they even can. Also, if you are genuinely worried about,
they can only break a certain type of encryption.
They can't break all of encryption.
Yes. Also, this is this like vision of encryption being good enough for it to have not been breached already in some ways is, I think, just laughable because it's a false assertion. So I wouldn't be worried about quantum computing changing anything about your safety in any meaningful way. I would rather be more so concerned about what information is being gathered off you right now and turned into automation. If you don't understand what that means, can't help you understand that, you're gonna have to think about that one yourself. It has a very interesting implication, because understand that everything in the universe is just an expression of information, be it physically or digitally, but it's all just energy at different levels and compression rates. So it's just that. So you figure out how exactly that kind of boils down to whatever computational data markets are, and then you'll know what the future looks like. It's fucking weird. I mean, like, it's like that image that I posted about the upscale of what the planet is and how it connects to this, like, a tesseract-esque, you know, hypercube made out of triangles and shit. People were like, what's that? Like, it's exactly what I said it is.
I don't know. Is like no one talking?
The summary to this is basically don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about it. Just
Don't worry about it.
yeah, just like
But it's
bring
also
value.
an interesting concept. Yeah, it's an interesting concept to delve into.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll find something there.
Just like kind of see how you can place yourself at the above psyop layer, and don't allow people with a lack in vision to kind of cloud your understanding of this, because there are a lot of those people out there. And even look at the former AI influencers that tried to like bag up on the AGI meme. They're all just like washed, and they're all just like cheating everyone for cryptocurrencies, and their newsletters are gone. Their like revenue base has gone to shit, and now their latest play is turn yourself into a GPT rapper that barely works. So, yeah, it's all just upsells, man. That's all that it is. Before they tell you how to prompt, I'm like, hey, you know what an SQL database is? Yeah, you know that one, you get everything. Because that's going to be where the fun part comes in, of actually understanding how the AI works and how you can work with it. And that's that, right? So, yeah.
Hello AI, drop star. Bye.
Drop tables, like, do you remember those injections that you could do with cars? Like people put like, you know, the drop thing into that like license plate, like drove through a speeding camera and just deleted all the data.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that, by the way. That doesn't work anymore. If it works, definitely don't. It's super fucking illegal.
Did you hear about the guy who changed his license plate to void? Or was it null? It was null.
That's fucking right.
And he ended up getting like 200 speeding tickets from traffic cameras.
Yeah, he got the speeding tickets because he said it's the good no.
Because whenever in the database it just came up as empty, it sent him the speeding ticket.
I heard about that. That's a real thing.
Function subs, yeah. Cool thing about the South is we have so many meth heads, they just cut all traffic cameras down for the copper.
That's the best way to do it in the South. Not gonna lie. Get them crawdads, and you get them cameras and the bell, and you melt it down. You can get your Chipotle in there, and you're good to go. Adrian, are you playing any classic video games nowadays?
I don't play any classics. I play Halo. And that's about the run of it.
Kind of classic?
Yeah, I mean, it's infinite, so it's 2021. It's not necessarily classic.
Oh, I was thinking the 2001 version on the Xbox.
Nah. I like infinite. Like, I mean, I do like a certain level of good graphics. I like the new campaign. It's pretty good. I like the updates they've done to it. I think that Halo Infinite has got a bad rap because of the development, right? So a lot of features were only put in afterwards. 2/3 of the campaign content was cut, and because of that, it was caused a bit of a problem. So yeah, it's fine though. It's not. It's actually pretty good now.
It's fun.
Yeah.
You ever see Elysium, that movie? It's like Halo, basically.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of like Halo, but I do like. Halo's actually interesting because I feel like it has a lot of. The one thing I don't like about the current expansion for how they're tapping into the lore is that they're kind of denying the deeper context of the Reclaimer. You know, the Reclaimer being us humans, and that effectively we are descendants of the Forerunners. We technically are Forerunners, which is also the reason why when we interact with the technology in that video game, that this technology is so intuitively made in some way. Right? You ever notice that the in-universe canon basically explains that humans and Forerunners are so similar because they're basically the same people in many ways. They're like, hey, this was optimized in a certain way to basically be able to, you can use it too. It's the same thing. Right? Look at all the other aliens that exist. You have the elites. You have the grunts. You have the banished. They all are very physically different. I mean, the grunts basically need like a suit that gives them a certain atmosphere 100% of the time. The banished are like this weird creature that has 3 fingers for some reason that always runs around in armor that's easy to break. And they have crackhead deployments too. Which, if you play the Halo game, these guys that come run after you just beat the shit out of you. It's great. Yeah, the big guy with the gravity hammer comes along and just pancakes their ass. It's a lot of fun. But you can see all those are very different from you, in many ways. And those things I like. Even the AIs that the humans have made perfectly interface with the Forerunner technology. So at some point you gotta ask yourself, well, I mean, how do they close that loophole? Well, it's because you're basically a Forerunner. Right? That's what you are. You're just a Forerunner. Right? So I think that expanding on that would be nice because there's this one picture of Reach, post the Battle of Reach, where in the background, on the far left of that picture, you will see a type of ship, or infrastructure, that looks very human, but also Forerunner-esque. And that is because, in the future lore, there is the potential for expansion that the humans actually do in fact embrace the deeper ancestry that they have with the Forerunners, and then use the technology of the Forerunners themselves and effectively meld it with their own, and then restore to themselves what ancient humanity was before the Forerunners themselves wiped it out. Or at least, ironically enough, the end of the Forerunners and the beginning of the humans was relatively similar, and then there was literally this thing of saying, hey, the humans had ended and begun at the same time because the Forerunners decided to exterminate the planet and then put, caveman humanity back on it, and then they would have to develop back up to what they are then effectively in a universe today with, all the technology that they have to then eventually catch up to some degree with the Covenants and their technology by just using elements of Forerunner technology that's just being abused by everybody across the galaxy. None so more than by the Master Chief himself, whose primary objective was, Cortana, let's blow up this ring. We gotta take him out now. I always see more problems. That was literally the whole fucking campaign. It was him saying, the little AI is going, wow, this is beautiful. And this guy's like, all I see is more problems. And I was it was just damn. Can we like just not blow up the ring for a change? Can we just like repair this thing? So there is actually an expansion that's coming to that, content-wise, and it's going to be a book. So I'm looking forward to that because I really want to know what the continuation of Zeta Halo is, because it's actually really nice. But after that, like, it's a really problem for the game because that should have been just an expansion to the campaign. You could have just like put that on as DLC. I think that would have been better. Because Halo Infinite has been properly fleshed out. There are new features in it. It's really, really cool. You could just expand the current narrative, really. You could really expand that. And it would be so beautiful. Especially since people have already played through most of the campaign. You know, just like augment the file, and you have more things to do. They should have just done that. But Microsoft and 343 Studios, which is now Halo Studios, don't actually understand the game that they're working with and what the people genuinely want. I don't think that people want more books. They just want more game. And they have a game that released in 2021, but was only fully fleshed out in 24 and 25. That's not good. So I think that, you know, it's a great game. You'll have a lot of fun in it. You will yearn for more, for sure. But it's a nice thing to play at the end of like a work week. You know, like you're doing things and, you know, you're like, what the hell is that? What's that sound? You were typing. Too much typing.
Because the immigrants, they're not going to back down.
That's your code there, Blaze
Because
Dog.
they're being hired.
Blaze. Why no more typing?
Full blazing at him.
Bruh. Yeah, just read that so I can keep clicking. Yeah. I do have a mechanical keyboard also, but I have the one that's from Asus. It's an Asus keyboard. And it has like the really nice, very clickiness to it, that it's not very clicky. It's kind of like a deeper click. It's like a typewriter. It's like a typewriter, but if it was advanced, it feels like an advanced typewriter.
Have you ever actually used it?
No, I have not, but I know how it works.
Electromechanical. Those are so satisfying.
Yeah. That was the one that used the interrogator chamber. Is always like.
You heard the one with the solenoids in them? Those things are freaking loud.
We went to a meetup in Boston, Massachusetts at the computer museum. We can all try the keyboards. So I think that's the cool museum. Computers, new ones, computer stuff.
Right. That's pretty good. Nice. But yeah, no, I would highly recommend playing Halo Infinite. It's pretty nice. I played a lot. I played every day, practically. I mean, I have to skip some days because I was just busy, but I really, really enjoy that game. You know, it's a really good game. And it allows for, like, say, for instance, when you're playing, so you can play multiplayer, which is just like playing against normal people, or you can play against the grunts and Vanish, right? And it's just in a general multiplayer setting. So if you understand the AI, how it works enough, then you're going to perform very well within that game, and you're genuinely gonna have a lot of fun. And like Synthetica and I were like playing yesterday, you know, practically almost all night, and just like doing things, dominating. So pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we was all night. It was pretty good. small amount of time that's available to you right now that you can actually do something productive with. If you don't do that, you'll be fucked in the future. You'll regret it, and you will hate yourself massively because of it. So instead of like manifesting self-hatred, unless you manifest like self-hatred for the future, like for yourself in the future, you don't want that. So you better get to work now, right? So that's what we're doing. So we're building things and chasing a nice payoff. Let me find something real quick. Because I don't know all
Time is the only resource because once you sell your time, you make money.
time is the ultimate currency.
You get money to get a loan, then you get this depreciating asset with the loan. So all your time is pissed away to nothing. It's just so sad.
Boom, there you go. That was my post for my old Living the Age of Empires. And yeah, this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? What is this? I have a ton of posts, like a gigantic database of posts. To find a specific one is to rely on the similarity search on X, which kind of sucks. X needs a hypercube. It really does. They should get a Mac Mini. Bingo, found it. That's the one. Time is the ultimate currency. I pre-mined that shit back in 2024. So yeah, there's a lot of things. You can in fact just like search simple words and things on my profile, and you'll find a ton of interesting takes. It's like, this is also the reason why I record the spaces, so you can have like an archive of stuff that you can look into in the past and see how consistent I've been with kind of myself, the vision for what I wanted to over time, right? So this is amazing. And funnel checks, chicken chat.
You gotta sound like a pilot there. Funnel check, checks, and check.
Yeah. Yeah. We'd be doing things. That's a fun one. But we go with that then.
Let's check replies. Robin says, is the conversation back daily, or is this a one-off?
Weekly.
No, we're back
Weekly.
every Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it weekly for a couple hours for every week. Sometimes it will be less time that's available for us. It depends on what's happening, what we're gonna do. So
It was gonna update on its own, have music and everything, just an entertainment app as you would, like be on the train or anything.
How far did you get on
It
that?
was complete.
Okay, according to you, you were supposed to be paid 3 payments of 1,650,
Correct.
and
That
you
was-
were paid
it was-
2, but not the third.
Yeah, it's processing. We're processing.
Why don't you just give him the project that you want him to do instead of telling him, come up with something fabulous.
Well, that was the terms that I came up with for him.
Come up with something fabulous?
Rather than going back home and going,
What kind of business do you have?
Jewelry business.
Okay, and as I understand it, you're pretty successful.
I'm not bad. I'm doing okay.
You're doing okay for a boy from Queens.
Yeah.
Because I read some press about the people who buy your jewelry.
Yeah.
And you got some big names there.
Yeah, we work hard and we run a business. And when I get a chance to work with somebody, I will. If I have an extra room, I have.
Into a fight. Is that what it is? 'Cause that's the only thing I can see that's different.
I didn't want to pay the remaining amount because I don't have an application. And if I pay him, I'm going to be begging for this application, begging for its terms.
I'm sorry, what is left for the application?
The application is actually done. I actually have billing statements from the third party platform stating that he's still paying for the service to be rendered. So again, it's up to him.
Yeah, I played it like 5 times already. He's really good at it.
We played live on the space last night. He played like the whole space. Played multiple people at once. So destroyed everybody.
Yeah, it's like 2,000 rating versus like 1,000, so everyone just gets wrecked pretty much.
By the way, I was playing with the alternate in the afternoon.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were live streaming on X.
I think posted it to the company account. So if you guys want to have like reference for where to find that, it's right there. So if any one of you are like work for like public personalities and ways that best way to describe that, and if you like to like wear a shirt, probably the good result of it, especially if it's very presentable, not too bad, then yeah, you can buy some good conversation or time chain merch, and yeah, it's like people grab us.
You can't go to my crib with a record. Yeah.
Yes,
What's your record? What's your record? What's your record? Oh, no, you can't.
Like every day when I have a conversation, there's a little cup of coffee there. But drink from the same mug that I drink from, and like everybody else drinks from. And the stuff that the clothing's made out of is actually pretty good. So we've kept that in mind also. So this is stuff that we genuinely would use ourselves, right? We never selling anything that we're not comfortable representing or using ourselves, because that's just unethical and that's fucked up. And we have very high standards. We'll never sell you anything that we don't use ourselves, we don't believe in, or don't understand, right? So basic ethics, kind of went out of fashion of basic ethics, which is insane to me, but I mean, you can in fact do things and bring it back for yourself, especially because I believe that a lot of people in the community here are, relatively intelligent, so make decisions for yourself. So yeah, it actually has to be good.
One more important thing, Adrian. We are trying to stay away from polyester.
Yes, as much as possible. We try to stay away from polyester as much as possible.
Polyester
Endocrine disruptors, it basically is not something that you really want to be having inside of your body. It's not good. I also would highly recommend for people to not wear Lululemon for exercising, because that just gets in you.
Lemon? What is lemon?
Lululemon, bro.
Back when back when the
Romans came back around and slaughtered them. Right? It caused a revolt. And then in the 600s AD, they went in under the Persian banner. When the Persians and the Romans were having wars, they went in, they slaughtered over 50,000 Christians. This is before Islam. They slaughtered over 50,000 Christians and tried to seize control of the land. The Persians, who they were fighting alongside, were they were astonished by the level of violence committed by the Jews in that era.
You're talking about stories from 2,000 years ago, and
This happened 1,400 years ago.
What is 1,400 years ago?
Yes. So there is a precedent. So the point is that there is a precedent for Jews doing this. This is not new to Judaism.
I just wanted to quickly, do you see I go out of my way to try to protect a religion? And I don't desperately say anything. I know some of this history, but I do my best to sort of to try to separate. And then we have people like Tom who just join it together, that they get mad, and when people are saying things that Jews are doing this,
is being honest. It is actually intellectually dishonest to separate Zionism from Judaism.
Very well, very well. Now, let me reveal to you the reality of Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom, the land is yours. I can confirm it. Right? There were some circumstances. Wait, sir, please. There were some circumstances that driven you to live in Iraq for about 200 years. That course brought you back. Other circumstances that led to other things, and you were deported from these lands for a couple of hundreds of years. And these lands were other people, other humans lived in it. Now you return back after a couple of hundreds of years, claiming your land. My question to you, and I want you to be as honest as you've started, does that justify what you are doing, right? What the Jews, Zionists, those who came from Isaac, I don't care, or the ones who love them, does that justify what you are doing right now?
I don't even know if I'm related to Isaac from the Bible.
My question is clear, please. Please. I said whether you came from Isaac. I'm so sorry. I said whether you came from Isaac or you just being a person who have your ancestors converted. I was clear. My question, does that justify what the people who have the Israeli passports doing to the other people? Yes or no?
You want to, yes or no would be a childish answer. The answer is my ancestors from my mom's side grew up and lived in Israel for 300 years. On my father's side, they came from Europe after the war. The point is, there's 80 million people moved around. A million Jews.
I told you, it was your land. It was stolen from you. My question is, does that justify the killings that you are doing?
Please let me finish. A million Jews were kicked out of Arab countries. A million Arabs left Israel. 80 million people moved around during that time. Syria was created. Lebanon was created. Jordan was created. And including Israel was created. But Israel is the only place where the Palestinians have to come back. Why aren't the Russians having to come back to Russia? Why aren't the Czechoslovakian and the Slovakians not going back to each other's countries? Why aren't Palestinians going to Jordan? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it's the reality of
You've created Israel, and I would... Wait. You created your lovely country. I wish you all the best. Now, why don't you end up the occupation and have the two-state solutions where the Palestinians have their own... Wait, sir. Where the Palestinians could have the fraction that was given to them by the UN, or whatever reality that was created after 1967, and then end these inhumane actions.
The answer is that it can happen and it should happen, and it doesn't because of people like some of the people in this forum. The reason it can happen is because, please let me finish. You have 2 million Arabs. There's some Arabs here, right? There's 2 million of you in Israel, serving in government, being judges, having 100%. Wait, please. Oh my God. No, the Arab, there's Jewish fighter pilots. There's Jewish fighter pilots. I know personally.
It says democracy. Show me an Arab fighter pilot.
I know personally Jews are Arabs, right?
No, they are not.
They're not Arabs. Well, the Arab I know speaks Arabic, was born in Israel, only grew up in Arabic environment, and he's a pilot.
It's actually the 2 million Arabs that have the Israeli Jews living alongside them.
Sure, we have equal rights. Okay, well, we can replicate that. We can have
I learned this, they do not. I've seen so many reports. This is the issue that I have. So when with South Africa, right? When there was a Afrikaners and then the white, we know the whole history. They lived together. That doesn't mean that there wasn't apartheid conditions. What about the U.S. during slavery? They lived together, but there's apartheid.
Give me an example of something.
Okay, let me give you an example. So I'll say right away. when it comes down to pay, Arabs, they can do the exact same job as an Israeli Jew and not get paid the same amount. If you want to work inside of Israel, you have to get paid for permits to come over and work. If you're
No,
Jewish,
that's Palestinian. That's Palestinian.
But that's still apartheid.
No, we're talking
That's
about
still
Arabs inside Israel.
Palestine is not Arab?
We're talking about Arabs.
That is apartheid.
I'm giving you an example of what works.
So
How
what's the
Arab
difference
and
between a
Jews can work
Palestinian Arab and an Arab that was Palestinian living in Israel? I don't get the difference.
because Palestinians lives under the Palestinian Authority and they need special permits to go to Israel.
Yeah, but these permits are, listen, these permits are charging them to come and work.
Can you go work in Mexico? Can you work in Mexico?
Why would I go to Mexico? This is
Why would a Palestinian?
1 second, hold up, give me a second. I can't. I can get a worker's visa and I will get paid exactly the same. No, but I'll pay for it. I'll get paid exactly the same. I'll have the exact same taxation. Everything will be the same with the rest of the Mexicans there. And let me explain this to you, which is really pissing me off here. Palestine's under occupation. They are not a sovereign country. So the fact that they're paying enormous amounts of money to go across to work to the exact same job, that same work, same qualifications, they get paid less. The people, and also taxation is different. What's even crazy is 2% of their pay goes to this crazy fund that's set up to help go and train Israeli Jews to eventually take their position over. So no, it is not the same
Okay, so this is for everybody. Now she's talking about Arabs from Gaza and the other territories going into Israel to work, purposely conflating the 2 million Arabs that live in Israel. Hold on, please. None of what you said applies to the 2 million. You're talking about 2 million. Why are you lying? What am I lying about? Oh my God, tell me.
The Palestinians who live in Gaza or the West Bank, they are living as animals. They are not being treated as human beings. That's number one. The Arabs who have not been, that you did not kill and gave your citizenship to, are living in an apartheid state where Jews have a specific rights, while the Arabs doesn't.
We're not talking about that. Can we finish the conversation about the 2 million Arabs who live in Israel as the example of Israel accepting, allowing, embracing Arabs inside of Israel? When we finish talking about that, I'm happy to talk about Gaza and the West Bank.
Logical fallacy, Tom, and you know it too. Just because a apartheid state allows a type of a race of people to live within their borders does not mean that they're also not committing a genocide. That does not mean that apartheid is.
Okay, so you guys are afraid of answering that question? All the listeners, they are afraid. Answer the question.
Afraid? Hold on, you think we're afraid? I'm really confused. It makes no sense to me. So, what is the difference from an Arab to an Arab to an Arab? What's the difference?
The difference is one of them is outside of the borders of Israel, and the other one is inside the borders of Israel.
No, listen, hold on. This is the funny part. So, in the United States and Europe,
Actually,
countries, you can listen. You guys literally, when people come as immigrants, come as they live in the country, they're not from, they haven't been there, they're not that religion, culture, etc. They get paid the same. They have the same rights. Even if a Canadian is going to America to work, etc., you get paid the exact same way. That's what's called democracy, which apparently Israel is, but it's not. That is such a bullshit statement you're making here. I'm a dual citizen. When I work between Canada and the USA, I literally get paid as an American, as a Canadian. My taxes are the same. I don't have to go and apply for a permit to be able to build a home in the US because I was born in Canada, but I am a dual. I don't understand. Hold on a second. Hold on. I have family and friends who want to work in other countries like Germany, Italy, etc. They get paid the exact same way in which citizens living there are. They have the same legal laws that apply to them. They have the same taxation that applies. What is your point? So you're trying to tell me that they're going to... One second. When an American comes to work in Israel, are they paid differently? Are there different taxations? Are they going to pay for it?
Are you talking about the Arabs in Israel or the Arabs in the
About
territory?
Israel. So if American comes over, because they're not from Israel, right? Do they get paid differently? There's different taxation. If you're
This is
American, Canadian, Russian.
amazing how you're not willing to answer the
I'm
question.
asking you a question. Can you establish that first? And I'll get to that next part.
The answer is yes, and Arabs in Israel get the exact same everything as Jews in Israel with no difference whatsoever, no exceptions. Show me one exception and I'll concede defeat.
What's the one exception?
You show me one exception. Arabs in Israel get
The exception. The fact that you've actually gone and differentiated one Arab from the other. They're Palestinians.
Yes, why don't you tell me the Jordanians should be able to work in Israel too?
Why not?
Because are you able to work in Mexico or do you need a special permit?
I can. Of course I can.
And you need a special permit.
No. It's called a worker's visa and I don't pay for it. I can work there, but I get paid exactly the same.
We need to dive into the Israeli thing, right? So you said 2 million of them, they work inside. Do they have self-determination or is it just exclusive to the Jewish people?
100% all the rights exactly.
Self-determination, they passed the law in 2018.
No, what the law says is that Israel is a Jewish state and everybody practice whatever they want with absolute freedom 24/7.
Determination is exclusively to the Jewish people, is unique, that promotes settlements and whatnot. You should look into it.
No, you should look into it. You should look into it.
This is what it said.
What can Arabs not do in Israel? Stop with the
Do you build settlements in the middle of nowhere? Do they build settlements or do they need permission?
Arabs in Israel live in every single city that every Jew lives. So the answer is yes.
Okay, let's dive into the self-determination part. I'm gonna read you every little thing and every
Here. Can I say quickly, Amir? Hold on. Since 1966, martial law can only be applied to Arab citizens in Israel, but not Jewish.
I don't know, Mark. You can't tell who's Jewish or not in Israel.
William, it's the law is
How are you going to tell the difference in Israel?
Now I'm giving him one reason, and then Amir's gonna give him a whole slew of them, and he will.
No, I mean, there's a whole database about Nadala.com about this, right? But I don't even want to go into this whole, discrimination against Israeli Arabs. Let's assume, I'm going to go with you, Tom, and let's assume Israeli Arabs have all their rights and there's absolutely no discrimination whatsoever, right? Now, let's move on to the next stage. West Bank. You probably call Yehuda and Samaria, right?
Sure.
Okay, so what should we do about that? Are we annexing it or are we leaving it? Or are we going to perpetually occupy it? And what about all the Arabs living there? Why don't we just give them citizenship, incorporate them into the land, incorporate them into the country, and create one country for all the citizens living on that land?
So that was for many years what many Israelis supported. The problem is that the cultures are so different that in the last, I would say, 20, 25 years, voices in Israel started saying, look, there is going to be more. If you combine Gaza, the Arabs in Israel, the Arabs in the Golan, and the Arabs in the West Bank, there's going to be a demographic threat to the Jews. So there will eventually be more Arabs than Jews, and they have full right.
Problem if there's equality in the land.
Listen, and they would vote out the Jews, and that would be okay if the culture were the same. But the Jews are not willing to live like Hamas. They're not willing because they're not going to do it.
Hold on. What's the difference in the culture between the Israeli Arabs and the Palestinians in the West Bank?
The Israeli Arabs are in Israel. They're peaceful. They support Israel. They don't like Hamas. They don't like the West Bank because.
There's a lot of Israeli Arabs that do not like Israel. Put that on full display, man.
Yes, but
Culturally speaking, actually, they're almost identical. Like I personally know Arabs, like Palestinians, from the West Bank and Israeli Arabs in Canada. They are best of friends. They are one people. Like they don't consider themselves anything.
In Canada,
and even there, like there's a lot of Israeli Arabs that used to go to the West Bank to like buy buy stuff, to like show their cousins and all that like culture, but they are indistinguishable from each other.
You know what? They won't marry. They make fun of how the Arabs.
They do marry.
They do, but they do statistically. I know Arabs. They're making fun. They're like in the West Bank.
No, they do marry. First of all, they do marry. Second of all, there are laws in Israel. This is one of the laws in Adalah.com that try to prevent Israeli Arabs from marrying West Bank Arabs. So the fact that the marriage numbers are not very high, that's due to Israeli intervention.
Can I chime in, guys?
But culturally speaking, hold on, wait, I'm talking to the guy. Culturally speaking, they are indistinguishable. They are the same exact people. Right? They are.
In Gaza, they're much more religious. They're much more militant. They're much more backwards.
Wow. They're militant because they're being occupied.
Potentially.
Because they're being blockaded. You look at blockade, you treat them like normal human beings, you give them all the rights that Israeli Arabs have, and by extension, because we're assuming that there's equality, Israelis have, you treat them like you would treat a Jew. You treat a goy like you would treat a Jew. I know it's preposterous for you, but try to do it, right? And they won't be as militant, they won't be as oppressive, they won't be as wacko, right? Gotta be religious, sure, but there's a lot of religious Jews. There's neighborhoods in Israel where if you drive through them on the Sabbath, they will stone your car. That sounds pretty fucking religious to me. The fact that you have...
Tom, can you check the link? Tom, can you check the link that I sent, guys? It was actually a few hours ago. Israelis were celebrating. Everyone, please click the link that I sent on Instagram. Israelis were literally celebrating rockets falling on Arab neighborhoods in Israel. My friend, you're absolutely wrong, bro. Israel literally has a law, bro, that's literally race and apartheid, okay, bro? So I don't know what you're trying to say. Like, and plus, I want to ask you a question. The reason why people in Gaza, the reason why people in Gaza are living is because of you. You guys should lift the blockade, get the fuck out of historical Palestine, and go back to fucking Europe.
There's no way in 2005. What happened then?
Okay.
Here goes the line.
We're not gonna get into it. Guys, stop it. Stop the railing. Okay? So, why is it that if you are so adamant that Israeli Arabs are so integrated into Israeli society and are so assimilated and have all the rights and have complete equality and love being Israeli, why don't you extend this to the rest of the Arabs on the entire historic Palestine, which you effectively occupied, whether it's through direct occupation like the West Bank or blockading and sieging like Gaza? Take the whole land, create one state for all the people that live there.
Because a big portion of those Arabs are stating openly that they're dedicated to the destruction of Israel. And you're saying, hold on, and you're saying, Tom, trust me, they will change once you embrace them.
I don't understand what democracy.
Okay, hold on.
A free and equal, a free and equal land for everyone, right? You're talking about a Jewish state, right, that does not treat people equally, that has to keep identification papers just for the Arabs. I've been sitting here.
No, that's wrong.
About
That's wrong. There's no identification papers for the Arabs. You're wrong. Wrong. I'm not gonna centralize. There's no ID for Arabs.
Okay, so
take it back. You want to continue? Take it back.
With your answer, you do realize that you're justifying why there is resistance?
You can't lie half the sentences. There is no ID for Arabs.
Right?
We can continue once you said there's no ID for Arabs.
Can I just speak with Tom? I'm trying to have a conversation with this guy.
Alright, go.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you think, Tom, that Israeli Arabs are comfortable in Israel?
Israeli Arabs inside Israel, the 2 million, the vast majority are very comfortable, yes.
Okay. Would you be comfortable if 50% of the population wanted to kick you out of your home?
There's no 50% of the population that wants to keep out there.
Yes, it is. Do you want me to bring the statistics for you? This is pure research. It's not like some Arab think tank or anything like that. research has shown that roughly 50% of the population wants it to expel the Arab Jews. They view it as a mistake to keep anybody in Palestine or in Israel, right? From 1948. That this was a mistake. We shouldn't have kept anybody. We should have expelled them all. Instead of expelling 80%, we should have expelled 100%.
That may have been a better idea, but no, you're not going to see.
See, he just, the Freudian slip. This is called
Yeah,
the
so
Freudian slip.
I guess
Just
so,
came
like,
out.
would you feel
He
very
just
comfortable?
had to blurt it out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no Zionist in this world. Everyone is able. There are no good Zionists and a bad Zionist. They are all Zionists.
How many Jews
As simple
are in
as
Arab
that.
countries? How many Jews are in Arab countries? You're all Arabs.
If you want to go down why Jews were expelled from Arab countries, I would suggest, yes, I would suggest a book written by an Iraqi Jew who actually participated in these operations, in which he has very well documented.
Listen, Israel tried to Jews suffered under
Operation Yasmin.
I want to talk about the fact that there's 1 million Jews, and the operations you're talking about brought a few thousand Jews. And the world loves the exception.
Operation Yasmin? Really? A few thousand?
How many?
Operation, okay, let me go look into it.
Go look into it. You love this whole
Operation Yasmin brought about 90 to 97,000 Jews to Israel. That's from Morocco alone. 2,000? That's Morocco alone. That's one country. That's not Iraq. That's not Syria. Well, Syria is a different story. That's Iraq was a big one, right? That's the book that if you want to look into it, it's called Ben Gurion Scandals. How the Haganah, how the Mossad. It's a book by let me bring it.
Avi Shalom. You don't have to bring it up.
Avi Shalom, yes, Avi Shalom.